Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, greetings from the Arctic, here on Svalbard in Norway. All courtesies observed, and thank you for the opportunity of addressing the Apex integration session of the Asia-Pacific Water Summit. Growing up in my homeland of Fiji, I was able to witness the daily marvel of the hydrological cycle and understand its importance for communities and nature. In an island setting, it was very clear how this cycle was the very foundation of the health of land and sea and the people who depended upon it for sustenance. But it was also apparent that changing human production and consumption patterns were bringing harm to both land, sea, and the hydrological cycle itself. Pollution was entering the coastal ecosystems through the flow of water off the land. Plastics, fertilizers, wastewater, and chemicals. Pollution escalating at alarming rates, with the consequences of our actions upon ocean health and human health only barely understood. The freshwater community and the saltwater community are forever connected through the hydrological cycle, and we must harmonize our efforts accordingly. In terms of the UN Sustainable Development Agenda, this means that SDG 6, to ensure the availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all, and SDG 14, to conserve and sustainably use the ocean's resources, are inseparably linked. Many people say the problem is that we have plenty of finance, but we don't have the projects. As a former president of the executive board of UNDP, let me say that such talk is nonsense. Just think of the tens of thousands of urban coastal settlements in the Asia-Pacific region that do not have modern sewage facilities, whose sewage problems are to the detriment of both human health and that of adjoining coastal ecosystems. And you have tens of thousands of SDG 6, SDG 14 projects knocking at the door of available finance. May I respectfully suggest that less talk and more action is required in this field. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the source-to-sea ethos must rule our thinking when we take on the challenges and solutions of the hydrological cycle, the high human calling of implementing SDG 6 and SDG 14. In developing scientific knowledge, integrating plans and operable actions, we must do so in tandem between land and sea. If the source-to-sea management is going to deliver us the healthier environment we seek for our children and grandchildren. Source-to-sea management is a holistic approach that recognizes environmental and economic and social linkages between land, freshwater, coastal, and marine ecosystems. It brings together all relevant stakeholders, including the private sector and policymakers and community organizations, to collaborate on managing healthy ecosystems and building resilient societies. Here I wish to especially commend the Asia-Pacific Water Summit for its adoption of the source-to-sea ethos. This integrated management approach will be critical to the world's achievement of the 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda because it addresses so many of our water-related challenges, including climate change, food and water insecurity, marine pollution, the degradation of nature, and poverty alleviation. We therefore have little choice but to press on vigorously with improved governance, allowing cross-sectoral coordination and cooperation between upstream and downstream stakeholders. Science and technology that strengthens our understanding of source-to-sea linkages, and finance that recognizes the benefit of the system as a whole. Allow me to mention that the Action Platform for Source-to-Sea Management is a great resource for learning about the source-to-sea ethos and for connecting with others who are working on holistic management of land, freshwater, coastal, and ocean issues. The platform facilitates active exchanges and joint action by partners like SEWI, Global Water Partnership, and the Asia-Pacific Water Forum, all of whom are active in this summit. And I encourage others to join this partnership for the overall benefit of the Asia-Pacific freshwater and coastal communities. In furtherance of this collaborative effort, we have great opportunities to strengthen integration at the High-Level Water Symposium being held at the UN Ocean Conference in Lisbon on 27th of June, and on from there to the UN Water Conference in New York next year. As the saying goes, nothing ventured, nothing gained. So I look forward to meeting many of you along the way in Lisbon and in New York as we take the necessary steps of our shared journey. Like Basho before us, may we progress through fragrant fields of early rice beside the wild Ariso Sea. I thank you for your attention.